Hello and welcome to Out of This World. I'm your host, Jamie Hanshaw, and today I have a super extra special guest for you, Adam Lane Smith, who is a dating coach. And I know that's not usually the subject matter that we talk about on this channel, but I think you guys are really going to enjoy this because a lot of the genres are bleeding into each other. And I have been looking into this red pill stuff for quite a while, and a lot of it is very frightening, a lot of it's very confusing, a lot of it's a lot of lies, and that is what attracted me to your tweet. I saw your tweet about red pill lies to men, and it was so poignant. And it's funny because red pill, back in my day, it used to mean something from the Matrix. Did you take the blue pill or the red pill? And the red pill is truth, and the blue pill is you remain in the Matrix and the lies. But then somehow it got co-opted to mean that the red pill was the truth about women, right? And how all women are like that, meaning they're all hypergamous, they're all selfish, they're all gold diggers, they're incapable of loyalty and love. And that is preposterous. So I really enjoyed your tweet. It means a lot coming from a man. I think when you're speaking to men as a woman, it's a lot different speaking to men as a man. So I'm here and I invited you to be my backup today in speaking to men about the red pill community. And your tweet says, if the red pill community is so correct, why so miserable? Right? That's so true. You said, men are flooding into my coaching after years of unhappiness and now trying to overcome the red pill lies. Here are some harsh truths about why the red pill teachings don't work and lead so many men to misery. So the men are realizing that contempt and disdain are not very effective dating strategies. And that is where you come in. Is that what you're finding now?
That's so true. Absolutely. You've nailed it. It does originally spring from the Matrix meme of the red and blue pill. So the red pill guys, they've been around for a long time, and they used to be called men's rights activists. They were called pickup artists. They were called all kinds of stuff. And I've been following them for about 12, maybe more years on the internet. And eventually they kind of all rolled into this place called Red Pill over on Reddit was one of the big main hubs for the original community. And they said, we have taken the red pill, like on the Matrix. The blue pill is happy wife, happy life, serve your wife. Everything will be fine. Women should rule everything. Women are better than men in their eyes. This is blue pill of just go along, get along. Men are this, men are that. A lot of the lies that, frankly, our society does tell about men. A lot of unpleasant things our society does and says about men, the way we treat men in family courts. Yes, there are very valid complaints, but Red Pill came along and said, you are right to be scared of women and to be angry at women and to hate women. And all women do this. And they started trying to pick evolutionary psychology and all kinds of other pieces and say, essentially, what they say is that every woman, yes, like you nailed it, is a gold digger. Every woman is going to betray you. If you share the slightest vulnerability, she will walk out of your house and cheat on you with your best friend on your front lawn 3 seconds after you share your feelings with her. And that's what they're teaching young men. They're teaching young men that the only answer to get love is that love will never exist because women are not capable of it.
Right.
So the best thing you can get is sex.
Right, or just extracting resources however you can. If it's money, if it's attention, if it's status, whatever. Since they believe that there is no love exchange, then whatever a woman is useful for, you can use her for that. And so you said that your lie number one in your epic tweet was, all women are just waiting for a better man to come along and are incapable of loyalty. If you're taught that every potential romantic partner is a sociopath, no wonder you're miserable. It's a bald lie that many men get burned out once they believe this all too easily. So in your experience offline in the real world, do you find that women are horrible creatures that are just lurking in the shadows waiting to pounce on you and extract all of your life force? Is that true or not?
Oh man, Jamie. I mean, in your life, you're a woman. So let me ask you. You know the inside world of the women around you. Have you known women who have stayed with guys who just frankly did not deserve them?
Yes,
Have you known women that stayed with a man after he treated her badly and she chose to forgive him out of goodness?
absolutely. Yes.
Have you known women that didn't stay because they had no other options? They stayed because they really hoped that love could make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it basic experience with any woman in our life should teach us that this is a lie. I know women who do the same. I wrote right above my head, exhausted wives, bewildered husbands. One of
Mm.
the biggest patterns I see in divorce is the woman stays for a long time hoping that the man is going to change, begging him for emotional intimacy, for change, for growth, for more love, for more connection, more compassion, and he refuses to believe that it's even possible. So he shuts her down at every opportunity for 10, 15, 20 years, and then doesn't give their children the emotional intimacy they need to grow much either.
Hmm.
And she, brokenhearted through all those years, eventually gives up on him, and 15, 20 years in, I can't do it anymore, so she asks for a divorce. And he is blindsided that she is choosing divorce over this and says, wait, I'm willing to try now. But she is so brokenhearted through all those decades of all that treatment that she just can't. She has nothing left.
Hmm.
So then he goes online to talk about how he was totally blindsided by this horrible woman that he has served faithfully for so many years, and all she did was complain, and he did nothing wrong, and he was willing to fix everything, but she wasn't. And that's the origin of many, many, many red pill stories right there that we read
Hmm.
online. That's where that belief is coming from.
So, in your relationship counseling, well, I have this theory. It's not really my theory, but it's something that I've noticed is that a woman will make her needs, wants known, and the ways that you are disappointing her, ways you're hurting her, the ways her needs aren't being met, for only for so long.
Mhm.
And then she stops trying to fight.
Yeah.
And that is the phase of the relationship. Now you're in the yellow zone. Now you're in danger. If she is not angry at you anymore, if she's not expressing her needs, her wants, you're kind of like a dead man walking at this
Yeah.
point, and she's just preparing, she's getting her ducks in a row. She's already left you. And for men, this can feel like, oh, the relationship is finally like the way I want it. She's not complaining. She doesn't care. She's
Hmm.
very pleasant. She's not on emotional roller coaster because she's
Hmm.
already detached from you, my
Yeah.
dude. Right? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then,
Jamie, let me ask you as a woman,
mhm,
what if any, what, if any, is the road back from that? Let's say there's a woman who has children
mhm,
and she's that upset because he is not connected to her, but he's also not connected much to their children. And she's feeling that, and she's got into that dead zone.
mhm.
Have you seen any way back from that? I have, but I'd like to kind of compare notes with you of what
Um,
you've seen.
yeah, as a woman, I think as long as she's still sleeping in the bed next to you, you have a chance. You have it grows smaller every day by
Hmm.
you not addressing the issues that need to be fixed. But if she's there, she is still waking up every day hoping that you see the light, hoping that you have your Scrooge moment where you wake up on Christmas morning and say, I'm going to be different from now on.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives you all that time. And by the time she has served you divorce papers, you've had 10 years to correct the problems that you knew were there.
Yeah,
Um,
usually.
and uh,
One thing, really quick, one thing I've
mm,
noticed is that if children are involved, once children get involved, women usually push for more from the man, not for her own sake, but for
mhm,
children's sake. She usually, like, she could accept lower emotional intimacy, low bonding, low connectedness, low value, low cherishing. She can accept that sometimes for herself, but for her children, she can't. And there's such hormonal changes, oxytocin that she's never got before, all of that hope, that love she wants more for her kids. What I've
mhm,
noticed is that that tends to burn women out really badly, is when you don't give your kids what she has been longing for and what she wants them to have. So the answer I have found usually is if she's gone silent on you, the answer usually is not to try to fix it with her first. It's usually to try to fix it with the kids first, to
hmm,
show her that you love the kids and to build yourself into a good father for the children. And when the kids start thriving, then you are fulfilling her real hopes, not for herself necessarily, but for the kids. That seems to be the only time she cracks that door open for her heart again, so that you can then
mm,
go into the marriage. It's usually kids first.
mhm.
Does that connect with what you've experienced or what you've seen as a woman?
Yes, a woman will do anything for her children. I think even put herself in a position where she's not having her needs entirely met. If they're okay, then she's okay. And a lot of people from the red pill community like to throw out this statistic that women initiate 70% of divorce. They
Mm-hmm.
initiate 80% of divorce. They initiate 110% of divorce. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
all the women initiating the divorces nowadays.
And for fun too. They just do it for fun because
Oh
it's a
yeah,
hobby.
just because they're bored and
Yeah.
they want a little bit of excitement, so might as well
Yeah.
break up my entire family for no reason
Correct.
because I'm bored.
Yeah.
Um, but I think this is kind of ridiculous, and a statistic is not a truth.
Right.
So a statistic does not inform
Hey.
what the
The
reasons were behind that. So just because 70 or however many percentage of women are initiating the divorce, it doesn't mean that they are the ones at fault. Is that
right.
true?
I absolutely. So when I say 70% of women initiate divorce, yes, and as we just talked about, it's usually after those women have completely given up on that marriage. Now, when the red pill guys come in and say they're doing it for fun, they just don't care. They'll do anything for their own hedonism. They don't give a crap about you at all. When I say later on, and I get so much flack for this, but when I say that the red pill paints every single woman as a sociopath or
Mm-hmm.
as someone with an extreme personality disorder, this
Mm-hmm.
is what I mean. They say women just initiate divorce for fun because they just don't care. They're just not willing to try. And that's just not true. Women will endure so much hardship and horror for their family and the people they
Yes.
love as long as you love them.
And we talk a lot about feminism on the show on the side of I'm pretty much anti-feminist because I think the roots of feminism are anti-family and anti-natalist. And we've done hours and hours and hours of the occult roots and history of feminism going back hundreds of years. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. Um, but the red pill guys like to blame feminism for every problem. And you mentioned the children. And so one of these issues that they have is that men are treated unfairly in divorce court or when it comes to visiting or visitation with their children. But what I've seen is the men aren't invested when they're there anyways. So they don't want to help with the child rearing. They don't want to help with the babysitting. They don't want to change the diapers. They don't want to do anything. Um, but then when the kids are taken away, then they're suddenly, oh, my kids, I can't see them. But you
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Mm-hmm.
like care about them
Mm-hmm.
before. And I think a lot of those men are just trying to get sympathy by that.
Keep in mind, I think this will resonate for you.
Mm-hmm.
Red pill is just radical feminism for scared dudes.
Right.
That's what red pill is.
Yeah, it's the other
Um,
side of the coin.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's the 10% on this side screaming at the 10% on this side, and the 80% of us in the middle saying, "What are you two smoking?" That's red pill
Right.
and radical feminism. So think of it this way: we're getting into attachment territory, which is I think is probably why you brought me on. A lot of these men who treat women this way have what's called avoidant attachment style. Now, avoidant attachment style comes from when you're a child and you learn that nobody is going to care about your needs. No one's going to meet your needs. Oftentimes, the mom in your life didn't meet your needs. And there's a lot of anger against those moms. It's the belief that there's something wrong with everybody else on this planet. So you have to learn to get your needs met by pushing people's buttons, by playing games. And Red Pill literally calls it game. You have to learn game to get
Yeah.
what you want from women.
Yeah.
Um, you play games with other people and their feelings by giving good feelings or inflicting bad feelings to get the reactions you want from people to get your needs met. Now, there's two different types of avoidant. There's the nervous avoidant, what I call ethical avoidant, where it's guys not manipulating women. They're not trying to exploit women. They're not treating women like garbage. There's the more manipulative, almost malevolent version of avoidant, which is very much about exploiting other people, not caring how they feel so you can get your needs met, not quite to the level of sociopath, not quite to the level of antisocial personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder, but that's the avoidance side. Unfortunately, there are a lot of men who have what we call anxious attachment style. And this is
Mm-hmm.
more women have this one than men, but a lot of men do. It's nice guy issues. I grew up trying to earn mom's approval because I don't believe I deserve to be loved. So no one will ever love me. They're hypersensitive, very insecure. And most women friend zone them because they don't seem to be men. They don't seem to
Mm.
be stable or predictable. And they'll be super nice when they're trying to get your love and approval, but then they've done all these nice things for you and you don't respond with sex. So then they get pretty nasty and
Hmm.
resentful. And then you back off. You're like, whoa, that was a trap. These guys never get their needs met because they can never be honest about what their needs are. So then they discover red pill sometimes after they get hurt by an avoidant woman,
Hmm.
sometimes after they get hurt by a woman with personality disorder, sometimes just from being super lonely and having nobody ever really care about them. They discover the red pill. And the red pill doesn't say fix your attachment, get healthy, become masculine, be healthy, love people. The red pill says you don't need to be anxious attached. You need to be avoidantly attached. You need to take control of other people. The red pill completely disregards the possibility of secure attachment entirely
Hmm.
and says everybody in this world is out to hurt and exploit each other. You
Right.
should be the aggressor. And that's what red pill teaches men to do.
It really is sort of a villain origin story, if you want to put it that
Yeah.
way. A man gets hurt, or he has a experience with a woman with a narcissistic personality disorder, and then he says, "Screw this! I'm going to become the villain now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to exploit people for all that I can do that." So,
Really quick, every
mhm,
villain believes they're just an anti-hero. Every villain.
yes,
And
yeah,
that's what all the dudes. So when I post about red pill, I just released on Sunday a big red anti-red pill video over on my YouTube channel. The comment sections are flooded with angry men making every kind of attack against me and just claiming I'm making up lies, that none of this is true. I've been studying it for 12 years, and most of these guys were just have been bitter for a couple of years.
yeah.
But it's a cult. It is a cult mentality, and they all believe they are anti-heroes. They don't see that what they're doing is hurting other people.
So this first lie, all women are incapable of loyalty. Um, I think when they say these things, they're talking about anybody could be like that. A man could be disloyal, a woman could be disloyal. This isn't just a woman's problem or a man's problem, but they want to put all of these um, sins on women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is just a disloyal person problem, not a woman's problem or a man's problem, right?
If you look at largely how red pill, even if they are not just hurting women, their benevolent stances are it's white man's burden, but repackaged men versus women. It's the European Victorian era colonialization of white man is the most smart, intelligent, greatest race on earth, and it is our job to colonize others and bring them the richness of what we have created and then protect them from themselves. And that's what red pill teaches about women. Women are incapable of loyalty. They're just sad little creatures. We need to take them in as our pets and manage them properly, and usually and get sex from them as well. We can get sex from them. That is our right to take our sex from them. But we must take care of them as little babies is what we do. And that's the red pill's benevolent attitude toward women. You don't even want to
Right,
hear the worst ones.
right. So you just mentioned the sexuality. So that the lie number two that you posted, you said she had a sex life prior to you and is proud of it and wants to go wild. She's settling for monogamy with you. And so you said a deep misunderstanding about how the female sex drive works and what women actually want. They're just like men, so they love it is a huge barrier for men. And you are spot on because if there is anything these red pill people are good at is projecting
Mm-hmm.
their attitudes and values onto other people. So,
Mm-hmm.
disloyal people are going to accuse you of being disloyal. Promiscuous people are going to accuse you of being promiscuous, and they're going to attribute a lot of their motivations onto other people, especially women. Um, I.
Keep in mind really quick that a lot of these guys have been watching pornography since they were 8 years old, 10 years old. So
Mhm.
their view is that a woman's going to wander into a dark alley, get accosted by five dudes in the alley, and have the time of her life having sex with five guys in an alley, and that you are holding her back from that. So
Mhm.
you have to control her sexuality, or she's going to run out and try to find a dark alley to have sex with people in.
Right.
That is their view. And so if she has had sex with anybody prior to him, dudes will have sex with like 200 women and say, okay, I will only marry a virgin who has never even held hands with someone, is what they do. And it's okay, bro. Yeah, sure. And it just doesn't work that way. At first, that's not how women function typically,
Exactly.
unless they are hideously broken on the inside and
Right.
very sad, not to judge them, but very broken.
Yeah.
Most women aren't looking for a dark alley with five men in it. That's not a happy time for them. It just I did extensive work with female trauma survivors. It's not what women are looking for, trust me. And men implant their own twisted pornographic desires onto it from years of pornographic addiction
Hmm.
and then say that's how all women are. And frankly, it's wrong. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, because they're isolated with their computers and they don't interact with real people. And like you said, so they get their ideas about sexuality from porn and about women's wants and needs from that, which couldn't be farther from the truth. Uh, and we are having an epidemic now of like, OF,
Mm-hmm.
and just women turning to that, which is terrible. But for however many hours she's spent uploading herself to the internet, how many hours have you been on the other side of that camera?
And that's the thing. People, red pill guys, want to pretend that every woman in America and every country has created an OnlyFans account and is selling porn, as
Mhm.
if the vast majority of every woman everywhere is selling pornography with glee and using it to finance this wild life where she lives in a mansion and has male sex slaves. And it's just not true. If you look at the numbers, it's just not true. That number of women, the population of women doing that is just not true. And at the same time, if you look at the research, people today are hooking up at fewer, lower rates than they have in decades. Sex itself is massively declining. Hookups is massively declining. Even marriage is declining. People are more isolated than ever. And
Mhm.
not just men, the number of women who are isolated and alone at home, hoping that a loving husband will knock on their door someday, and that's their only hope. They're just hoping he'll find her somewhere. That it's Men can't even understand the other side of the dating pool for women right now. It's awful.
And now I'm hearing the buzzword called the Great Divorce, as in there is going to be a windfall of even more women initiating divorce because of
Mm.
for reasons, whatever. And this really hurts me because I'm a romantic. I'm not a gold digger. I'm not a hypergamous person. I'm a romantic person. I love love. I love relationships. I love men. I love women. I love babies. I like to see things working out. I like fairy tale ending. I like
Mm.
happy families, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have any contempt for either gender specifically. I want to see people, in love and making cute babies.
That's a pretty good world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think that we can bring that back. I think that you being here and challenging the red pill and you being here and teaching people about this, me challenging it in my areas, all of us as we challenge these lies, what's interesting is for every man that popped up in my feed saying, Adam, you're horrible. You want men to die. You want us to be slaves to women. You want men to kill themselves. For every guy saying that, I had two more sending me thank you. I
mm,
just got out of red pill. Thank you. I've been investigating this. Thank you. One of my closest friends is in it now and it's horrifying. Thank you. I've been out of it for 3 years, but I haven't known how to build better love and connections. I'm learning about attachment now. A guy's DMing me saying, what you're saying is making so much sense. I've been in red pill for 5 years and I've never been more miserable. So we are getting to a better place step by step. You are helping with that. You're spreading that message. I always say podcasters are the ones who are helping shape the conversation in the world right now. The
mhm.
future is going to look back on podcasters as the people who spread the messages, and you're going to be helping. I'm helping. Everybody out there who is talking about this and learning about it is helping. We're
Yeah,
getting back to we're
I
getting
am
back to
trying
people
to
in love
help.
having babies.
Yeah, I am trying to help. And it's like, if I hated men, this is what I would tell them. If I wanted them to do bad and have a miserable life, I would tell them red pill things. But I
Yes.
don't. I love people. So I'm telling you, this is not true. And that's why I
Yeah,
invite you to help me out here. So
absolutely.
let's get to number 3. So you said her sex life will drop off if you don't manage her through fear and pressure to make her compete for your sexual attention. This works on insecure women for the first year, but it's not love and it's manipulative. What do you think?
I had I had a guy post red pill come to me. He's married. And he said, Adam, what do you think about this thing that red pill men tell you to tell your wife? If her love sex drive is low, you go to her and say, I am having sex tonight. You get first dibs as being the person I'm going to have sex with. Do you want to take me up on it? Like to your wife, with your little kids sleeping in the next room. Hi, I'm going to go out and find someone to have sex with tonight. You get first dibs. Are we up or not? I don't. Let me think about it. It's coercive. It's control. It's fear. They call it. They talk about dread game. You have to keep her afraid all the time, and she'll love you for it because she wants to be afraid all the time because it makes her feel like you're a high value man, and she should be afraid of losing you. So she should have all this sex with you so that she doesn't lose you. Well, that's called exploiting a woman who has anxious attachment style. Is actually what that is. That's
Mhm.
that's prodding her abandonment issues to exploit her for
Yes.
sex. Is really what that is. Um, it's evil. I mean that's evil. That's actual evil. That's very close to rape, arguably.
Yeah.
Uh, Doing
Oh.
that is the opposite of how the female sex drive works. The female sex drive is driven after the first 7 to 12 months, especially through oxytocin. And
Mhm.
oxytocin is derived and floods you when you feel safe, in the absence of stress, the absence of fear, when you
Yes.
trust somebody, when a man is worthy of your respect, when he cares for you, and when you feel valued, and when you feel like you are providing value to him in return. In a loving, reciprocal, emotionally intimate relationship, the female sex drive goes through the roof and you have to fight her off with a stick. So if there's a sex drive problem happening, it is almost always an intimacy problem, emotional intimacy, which usually tracks back to an attachment issue in one or both of the partners.
Mhm.
So pretending that you just have to make her terribly afraid so that she'll have sex with you, that will eventually lead to that 70% divorce statistic.
Right. Um, and I think, well, speaking as a woman, I think the most arousing thing is being comfortable, right? That puts you in the mood faster than anything, faster than fear or excitement or being impressed. I think just feeling like you are safe and you're fed, you're loved, you're warm.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it opens up for men. And, we don't, in our marriage, in our, the way that we view the world in our Christian marriage, you don't deny the other person
Mm-hmm.
just because.
Mm-hmm.
You have made an agreement that I'm here for you for that reason and you're here for me for that reason. And without due cause or like as much as I can, I'm going to try and satisfy you in that way. But there are times when you have to use your discipline and you have to wait or, you have to hold off a little bit or use a little romance. And I think in marriages, especially when a man starts acting childish is the biggest turnoff. So they talk a lot about masculinity. You have to be like pumped and swole and like Liver King or Andrew Tate or
Mm-hmm.
like all these
Mm-hmm.
masculine men, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
you attract a woman. I really don't agree with that. I think the the masculinity comes from being an adult and knowing how to regulate your emotions and not throw tantrums, not have outbursts, not lose your temper. These things are what women are attracted to in reality. It's not muscles are nice and they're useful for lifting heavy things, but it's the way you feel around the person. Like you mentioned, you'd have to feel safe and comfortable, and that's when the arousal happens. Do you agree with that?
Things that would make you a good father are going to make a woman aroused.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking. Red pill guys like to go back to evolutionary psychology, which I think is great. I love evolutionary psychology. Let's apply it correctly. Evolutionary psychology says that a woman is going to be most aroused and most safe and most loyal to a man who would be an incredible father,
Mm-hmm.
not the dude bro who's flexing in his car driving by with 3 bikini models to make his wife jealous so that she'll have sex with him later that night. She's
Right.
going to be with the guy who is an incredible father. So would this make me a great father? Do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably what's going to do it. As
Yeah.
long as
Because
her
sex leads to
attachment is on
babies,
point.
right?
It does. That's
Yeah.
evolutionary psychology. I'm going to have sex. Well, back then, 10,000 years ago, they didn't have very many good, reliable birth control options. So
Yeah.
sex probably would lead to babies. And I don't know if you've seen a pregnant woman, but they don't tend to walk very quickly in the third trimester. They don't tend
Exactly.
to hunt very well. And you don't want a pregnant woman waddling into battle against a saber-toothed tiger or against, other tribe. You want safety, security, and clustering in the middle. So you want a reliable man who's going to take care of you and provide for you. Now, that's it's not politically correct to say in our current world, but it's what our evolution has tracked for. So the closer that a man is to a real man who would be a good father, the closer he's going to be to having a loving, wonderful wife that is a good wife,
Hmm.
as long as she is healthy in her attachment.
And takes responsibility. So I've never once thought, in being attracted to a man, how many Bugattis does he have? Never once. Okay, has that entered into my decision making process? But I want to know,
Sure.
like, is he responsible? Okay, does he know what time it is? Is he sobered? Can he drive? Like the things that, because being pregnant is a very vulnerable place.
Yeah. You
Not
know, you know
just.
what's
Mhm.
sorry, you know what's interesting here is the kinds of women that would be attracted to a man with a Bugatti. The way that money and wealth track in is when you don't believe anybody will ever treat you well, or
Mm.
if you don't believe anybody will ever treat anybody else well. If you don't believe that real love and honorable behavior and decency are possible for you, then you fall back on basic things you can trust outside of humans, which is money. Those are the only women who are going to go for Bugatti. So the dudes who do follow Red Pill, you are only going to attract women who are going to confirm the bias that Red Pill tells you about. That's it.
Hmm.
You're not going to find the healthy women because they will not allow you within 10 feet of them because
Yeah.
they can smell you.
Hey, your vibe is your tribe. And I see all of these podcast shows, and all they do is invite, a parade of strumpets on their show to make
Mm-hmm.
fun of them, which is deplorable in itself. And then they get this idea that that's what all women are like because that's all
Yeah.
that they're exposing themselves to, right?
Yeah. Hey, look, these women look just like the ones on the porno videos that I watch. That confirms that all women in the real world are just like this. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
So, speaking of those women,
Mm-hmm.
lie 4, you said all women have personality disorders and you need to act avoidant to control them. They
Mm-hmm.
don't say this explicitly, but Red Pill teaches you that all women have a personality disorder and you have to counter that with avoidant attachment. It's extremely dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm. Women with severe personality disorders, I do not want to demonize them. Usually they've been through pretty severe abuse. A personality disorder is the extreme version, the diagnosable, fully diagnosable version of attachment issues. It's one of the only allowances of attachment that they put into the DSM-5 or the 4. That's one of the only things that therapists really learn about for attachment theory. Most therapists don't know about attachment theory. So when it's that extreme, her terror at being abandoned, being controlled, being hurt, having to avoid intimacy, having to avoid trust or love, all of that has welded together into a semi permanent state of being where that's how she engages in all of her relationships and especially her romantic ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that is what Red Pill is describing as a woman who will leave you the moment you are too vulnerable, or the moment you lose your job, or the moment you're sick, or the moment you cry in front of her, or the moment you anything, she will get up and run from the room because she no longer feels safe, and she'll do anything to find somebody else immediately who makes her feel safe. Yes, that is the woman Red Pill is describing, is the most severe women with personality disorders and without consciences who are both. That's what Red Pill is describing
Yeah.
to a T, and saying every woman on earth is this way. That's exactly what's happening.
Well, and they do have a legitimate grievance because we talk a lot about, on my show, we talk about psyops and how culture is steered to go in certain directions by
Mm-hmm.
powers that you know nothing about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda and elite and things like that. So, in my opinion, I feel like the popular culture today that we have is a vehicle for making narcissistic people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to run into that and you're going to have interactions that are negative and damaging to you if you don't know what to look out for. But then it's funny, like, this has always been, women are too emotional. I don't understand. What do you want? You don't make sense. So there's a couple reasons for that, and we've kind of covered them on my show a little bit before. Hormones is a big thing. Women are on a 28-day cycle, men are on a 24-hour cycle. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to pay attention to those different hormones on the different weeks of her cycle. She's going to be acting
Mm-hmm.
differently, right? And have
Mm-hmm.
different needs and
Mm-hmm.
be relating to you in a different way.
Again, this doesn't mean she's going to, because of her cycle, wander into an alley and have the time of her life. She's
No,
probably just going to be different with you in her
just like she's
relationship.
ovulating as she wants the
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah, that's the alley moment, is
Yeah,
ovulation. There you
right.
go.
Um, so And then they talk a lot about logic versus emotions. I hear this in Red Pill a lot. Well, men are logical, so we're always right because we think of things in a purely logical way, and you think of things in a purely emotional way. And
Mm-hmm.
neither of those, they have to work in synergy, right? Logic and
Mm-hmm.
emotion. You just can't be Spock, and you can't be like a crazy uh, person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but another thing that we are investigating now is birth control and how that has an effect on how you relate to people, especially men. So there have been cases where the woman will go off birth control and she is no longer attracted to her partner because he doesn't have the pheromones that she would need off birth control. He doesn't have the personality type. Maybe he's a little effeminate for her. So when you go off the birth control, that's when you want the high testosterone men. And the birth control, it affects all of your physiology, not just your reproductive, but
Mm-hmm.
your attitudes and the way that you interact with people. So I know this is cutting edge stuff, but it also contributes to why guys think women are irrational because we're being poisoned in all sorts of ways.
Very true. We're all being poisoned emotionally. The research shows that 50 years ago, only about 1/3 of American adults in America, for example, had attachment issues. 2/3 did not. Then the research about 20, 25 years ago was about 50-50. Now the research shows that about 2/3 of adults in America have an attachment issue, and only 1/3 of them have secure attachment.
Oh, wow.
So we are getting so much worse with the attachment, with our belief that love exists, with the belief we will be taken seriously, that we'll be cared for. Then you factor in, birth control, hormonal fluctuations. You factor in dudes looking at porn since they're 10, 12 years old and thinking that's what women want from them. So they have to be a porn actor to get a woman and make her happy and make her feel good. You factor in Tinder, where you can keep swiping, keep swiping, keep swiping. And when you sleep with one person, the novelty wears off. You can get your next dopamine hit by swiping on somebody else and leave their house, leave their apartment to go sleep with the next person. And fast food and everything that we're funneling into our bodies and our lives and our hearts and our beings, we are being poisoned endlessly. So cultivating your life, curating your life and yourself is absolutely crucial if you want to live a life that means something to you. And that includes your relationships and your attachment.
And living chronically online, that's an emotional poison. And it does hamper, true love. So your lie number 5, you said true love does not exist, only lifelong control. The biggest lie the red pill community teaches is the opposite of what I teach, that attachment can never be fixed, so you must become a manipulator.
Hmm. Attachment can be fixed. It absolutely can. I had attachment issues when I was young growing up. I fixed them. I've helped thousands and thousands of other people fix theirs. Attachment is real. You can heal. If there was no ever healing ever for any human being on the face of the earth, then Red Pill would be right.
Right.
And actually, Red Pill would still be wrong, because Red Pill exists to try to teach men how to be different and how to heal themselves. So even their own premise would be flawed if you believed their premise. It is a complete and total paradox in and of itself. It cannot function. So healing can happen. The reason you hear about attachment theory is so you can then fix your attachment. The
Mhm.
reason that you endure these pain and suffering is so that you can learn to avoid those things and learn those lessons. Feelings are incredibly useful data. They shouldn't govern our decisions, but they should inform our decisions. That's the thing that red pill guys miss when they say we are purely logical. They're trying to go back to ancient times where men said, "Oh, women are sad little creatures. We will pat them on the head." Victorian era, even far back in ancient times, there were men who said this. Feelings should inform your decisions. Your wife should help advise you on the decisions that you make. Even the Bible says this very explicitly. And yes, reason should govern the day, but reason alone, divorced from feeling, divorced from heart, divorced from spirit and meaning, reason, you become a robot killing machine. That's all you are, is the Terminator.
Yeah, it reminds me of those movies where they program the AI to fix all the problems of humanity, and its solution is to just kill everyone to eliminate suffering. Right?
That's
That's
pure
the most
reason,
logical
right?
answer, right?
Right? And so many of these guys want to look at Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics. Oh, they had zero emotions. They killed their emotions. No. Marcus Aurelius was very clear. You experience your emotions. You feel them. You learn from them, but you do not allow them to govern you. And that's what red pill guys tend to miss is, oh, they would tell me to kill my feelings. No,
Mhm.
they would tell you to experience them and be educated by them and then make your decisions as a reasoning man. That is the distinction here. There shouldn't be a distinction. There should not be a hostility or a false dichotomy between male or female. Yes, we are different. We are complementary. We should work together when we are healthy. That's how it should work.
And I support a patriarchy. I believe men should take the initiative to be the leaders, but they should also, take into account their opinions of their women, their perspectives, uh, their counsel, their advice, their emotions, their love. It's all part of the package of a healthy society. In our culture, in our Orthodox culture, we view ourselves as a king and a queen
Mm-hmm.
of a household, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it operates under, he is the head, but it's kind of like a car and a driver. Somebody has to, work the steering wheel and the brake pedal. You can't vote on every little nuance of decision making, but she is to be included and listened to, and her opinions to be valued in the home.
Mm-hmm. Think of it this way. If a woman chooses to submit to her husband, if they choose that life, there are two conditions under which a woman would submit. One is she is forced, and the other is that he is truly worthy of her trust and her
Mm-hmm.
following. And Red Pill, like so many things before it, takes the stance that women are incapable of choosing to submit to you and staying loyal. So the only option is force. But they live in a world where men cannot force women to submit to them anymore. So they learn emotional coercion and manipulation to take advantage of injured women
Mm-hmm.
that they can then emotionally force into submitting to them without ever rising to being worthy of them. That is
Right.
what Red Pill is doing. It is the oldest story in the book, just played out with new rules in a new environment.
And that's one of the big things that the red pill guys look for is, will she be submissive? But that in itself is not exactly a virtuous thing, because you could submit to wrong, you could submit to evil, you could submit to, vice, right?
Will she submit fully and completely in every single way within 1 hour of meeting me and
Yeah.
never ever ask me questions ever again for the rest of my life? Then she's the kind of woman I need in my life forever. Yeah, that'll go real great. That'll go great for both of you.
But the submission, it's not that every woman has to submit to every man. A wife should submit to a righteous husband.
If he's worthy.
That, yeah. And that's one of those things that you can't just force it on people like you're talking about, manipulate them into submitting to you. There's things in life like respect. You can't make somebody respect you. You can't make yourself have a bowel movement unless you really, take the laxative. It's something that
Mm-hmm.
happens under the proper conditions, like
Mm-hmm.
a climax or something like that. If we're going to talk about relationships and love, you can't just order somebody, pleasure right now. It has to be, you know, brought along in the proper way. And that is, how you get respect and submission, by being somebody who is worthy of that honor.
There are two conditions under which a man would not receive submission from his wife typically, and one is that she is too broken to be able to trust somebody, right? There's
Mhm.
that. And then there is that he is not worthy of that submission.
Right.
It's one or the one or the other. Both can be fixed. Both can be fixed. Um, but you have to be smart and you have to be careful and you have to be honest about which it is. And it should be a discussion between the two of you. Do we want a submissive relationship? Do we want a traditional male female submissive hierarchy based on trust, love, respect, cherishing, and mutual fulfillment and building a life together? And
Hmm.
he is the captain, she is the first mate. He
Exactly.
is the
Yeah.
CEO, she is the COO. She's not the janitor, right? She's not the receptionist. She is a co-leader with him who happens to be just under his title, but she is over everybody else, and she chooses that so that the functioning hierarchy can make decisions. That's that is the model for a healthy situation like that. And to do that, he must be fully and completely worthy of it, which means no addictions, no pornography, which means not taking every opportunity to escape from responsibility. It means taking ownership of himself, being a disciplined man of good virtue, of good character, who is trustworthy, reliable, who would be at all times an exceptionally good father. We circle back to it.
Hmm. So, in our last minutes, can you tell us what would be the first step into trying to repair your brain from these red pill lies?
Understand that they paint the world in blue pill, which is
Hmm.
anxious attachment style. I'm not worthy of love and no one will ever love me, so I have to pretend. And red pill, I have to become powerful so I can make other people take me seriously, which is more avoidant. And they completely discount the possibility of secure attachment entirely. I don't know what kind of pill we want to call that yet. Maybe it's white pill. Maybe it's, I don't know. We haven't figured out the color for that one yet. We'll get there. But secure attachment is the answer. And it breaks you free from this false dichotomy, the false binary of I must either be controlled or be the controller. No, you can choose to be a full integrated human being who then connects only with full integrated human beings. Are you going to be able to get on Tinder and find a full integrated human being immediately at the snap of your fingers? Maybe not. It might take more work to get the sex you're trying to get. But it will be more stable and enriching and fulfilling. So, number one, understand that different is out there. Number two, start tracking the places in your life where you are not a fully integrated man who is worthy of respect from others and worthy of real connection, submission, fulfillment in your relationships and in your life. Wherever you are afraid and giving into that fear, where you are submitting to your fear, that is what is holding you back. Get some help. I coach. I have a community. I can help you. There's male coaches out there. There are so many people out there to help you. Make sure they have good moral character, but get out there and overcome your fears by having other people help you. That's the other piece of it as well. No man is an island. Men are meant to function together and to bring each other into the fullness of moral character and discipline and truth. Get connected with other men you admire and have them help you. Learn from them, grow with them. And then number three, stop chasing women who are so broken that they are guaranteed to destroy you because you can't trust them just as much as they can't trust you.
Hmm.
Stop chasing those women. Start learning to filter for healthy women who are going to love you with all of their heart and be faithfully loyal. Even many wounded, broken, damaged women are still terribly loyal unto death. It's not like every woman with a slight, bang in her fender is going to be completely death to you. Find a woman who is capable of loyalty and at least is capable of doing the work to become more fulfilled, healthy herself, just as you are. If you find a woman who is on the path and you are on the path, heal together and have an open, honest discussion about what is happening and what you want from each other. That is the pathway to doing this. And if you need help, contact me.
And you mentioned Tinder, and a lot of people don't realize that these websites, these social medias, these dating apps are designed with addiction in mind. They're not designed to create lifelong partnerships, right? They're designed to keep you on using the app. So they don't want people falling in love and deleting Tinder, right? They want you going on a date and thinking, I could probably have 10 people better than this person, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just a gambler's mindset, right? Just keep on
Always.
doubling down. So you would say get some real friends, some 3D friends outside in the sunshine on the grass, other men who are, you know, have the same interests and struggles as you do, and make some friends in 3D. Would you agree with that?
Friends that you respect and will hold you to a higher standard. Yes,
Okay,
crucial.
very good. Well, that is all our time for today. So, can you tell us how we can get in touch with you for coaching and your social media and
Mhm.
all of your channels? Let us know.
Yeah. So I'm Adam Lane Smith. Lane as in road in the middle, Lane. You can find me on adamlanesmith.com. You can find me on Instagram where I'm at attachment Adam. You can find me on YouTube where I'm at attachment Adam. And I'm just type Adam Lane Smith into YouTube. You'll find me. I'm all over the place. So far, probably find this interview. And contact me, reach out. I'm at Adam at adamlanesmith.com. If you just want to shoot me an email right now and ask me for help, I'll be there. I will help you.
Very good. Everyone go to Twitter X and look up Adam Lane Smith and follow him for his amazing tweets that hooked me and reeled me in and had me contact you for doing a show, even though it's way outside of what we usually talk about. I had a really good time, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you.